or other advertisers. This program is sponsored by TechTime Radio. Visit them online at techtimeradio.com.
Broadcasting across the nation from the East Coast to the West, keeping you up to date on technology while enjoying a little whiskey on the side, with leading-edge topics, along with special guests, to navigate technology in a segmented, stylized radio program. The information that will make you go, Pull up a seat, raise a glass with our hosts as we spend the next hour talking about technology for the common person. Welcome to TechTime Radio with Nathan Mumm.
Welcome to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm, the show that makes you go, technology news of the week, the show for the everyday person talking about technology, broadcasting across the nation with insightful segments on subjects weeks ahead of the mainstream media. We welcome our radio audience of 35 million listeners to an hour of insightful technology news. I'm Nathan Mumm, your host, technologist with over 30 years of technology expertise. Our co-host, Mike Roday, is in studio today. He's an award-winning author and a human behavior expert. Now, of course, we are live streaming during our show on 4 of the most popular platforms, including YouTube, Twitch.tv, Facebook, and LinkedIn. We encourage you to visit us online at techtimeradio.com and become a Patreon supporter at patreon.com/TechTimeRadio. We are friends from different backgrounds, but we bring the best technology show possible weekly for our family, friends, and fans to enjoy. We're glad to have Odie, our producer, at the control panel today. Welcome, everyone. Let's start the show.
Now on today's show.
Today on Tech Time with Nathan Mumm, buckle up as we drive into the latest technology news and stories. Here's what we have coming up on the show today. We unravel the shocking charges against the leaders of a notorious white supremacist chat group. Peer into the seismic shift as online news consumption overtakes television, and ponder whether powerful lasers could be the key to unlocking cheap fusion power. We also explore the curious case of an airline forced to rebalance planes due to heavy first-class seats, and the rise of a brutal, honest, out-of-office replies. Finally, we will debate whether your car should be warning you when you're speeding. In addition, we have our standard features, including Mike's mesmerizing moment, technology fail of the week, a possible Nathan nugget, and of course, our pick of the day whiskey tasting to see if our selected whiskey pick gets 0, 1, or 2 thumbs up at the end of the show. But now it's time for the latest headlines in the world of technology.
Here are our top technology stories of the week.
All right, story number 1. Should your car warn you that you're speeding? California lawmakers vote yes, but let's go to Corinne Westland for more on this story.
Safety advocates say speed assistance technology can reduce traffic deaths, but critics say California is moving too fast. When California State Senator Scott Wiener introduced a bill to limit speeding earlier this year, he expected some pushback. To understand the bill, it helps to know how speed assistance technology works. There's an active version, which can physically stop drivers from exceeding the speed limit. But there's also a passive version of speed assistance that only warns the driver when they're going too fast. The bill approved by the California legislature over the weekend would require all new cars sold in the state to warn drivers if they're going more than 10 miles per hour over the speed limit. Back to you in the studio.
So this is interesting.
Called the Wiener Bill.
Well, that's the name of the individual in California. That's correct. The bill has, though, some big backers, including the National Transportation Safety Board. Now, broad deployment of intelligent speed assistance would reduce the frequency of speeding and speed-related crashes, saving lives and preventing injuries, the NTSB wrote in support of the California bill. And we applaud you for pursuing this policy. Critics of the California bill say it's too much too soon. The technology is not perfect, Jay Beaver said in the interview. You're going to have a lot of false positives. It's easy for speed assistant technology to get confused, Bieber said, especially between highways and nearby surface streets with vastly different speed limits. He thinks that it'll be annoying and potential distraction for drivers. Unfortunately, your cars right now are all kinds of business going on to distract us, Beaver said. I think this increasing distracted driving will cause worse problems. The auto industry doesn't like the speed assistant bill either. Speed assistance systems rely on clear and visible speed limit signs placed at regular intervals to function properly, wrote the Alliance for Automation Innovation, an industry trade group that is actually opposing this bill. California, though, is a huge market for car makers, and Bailey Chapman says the state is trying to bully its way and is setting policy for the whole country. We believe that the authority for regulators stands firmly within the federal government, she said. All right, so let's talk about this, listeners. What do you think? Text us back or leave a comment on our live stream. But, Mike, I'll go to you. What do you think about this bill that California is looking to impose?
I think California is overstepping its boundaries.
Okay, and why would that be?
Well, let me ask you a question. Do
Okay.
you want your car to have a governor?
Well, this is just the passive way. So
This
it's
is
just
the-
going to put up like a light. It's going to put up a light or some type of
This is
alert.
the first version, right? This
Yeah.
is the version that we're going to make you do. And then when you keep not doing that, then we're going to pass a law that makes you do this version, which is the governor. Because
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know if you could actually do that though, right? Because now all of a sudden you're taking the driving away, and we just had an individual get a ticket that tried to put his Tesla in cruise mode and not drive, right?
Mhm.
So as soon as you start adding in the actual ability to cut down your speed limit, that's altering your driving ability. So I don't know if that's going to ever.
I think
pass.
this is a pretext by California to start institutionalizing more and more harsher rules. California is kind of known for over-regulating just
Okay.
about everything.
Okay.
So, it's not a surprise that this is coming out of California.
Let's just say you now get warning lights on your car and
I
vehicles.
don't need
if
any
you
extra
have,
warning lights.
you
I
don't need-
already ignore the ones I already get.
Do you already ignore the ones? So if
Yeah.
you have like it says low tire pressure,
I
you
got
an
that on
oil
the
change-
way here. I had to stop and look at my tire.
Did you? Was your tire okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
It's the sensor busted.
All right. So did you have to go in the Les Schwab or whatever car dealership and pay $200 for
Do you
that
pay
sensor?
attention to your fasten seatbelt sign?
No, mine automatically. I'm bad at wearing
What
a
happened-
seatbelt, right?
But
I'm bad.
Here's
Me
a
and Tyreek Hill have something in common. We
yeah.
don't
Here's
wear
a
seatbelt.
Here's a human behavior thing.
Okay.
You don't hear it anymore, do you?
I
Or very rarely do you actually hear it because that
Yeah.
that thing goes off every
like 30
15,
seconds.
20
Yeah,
minutes,
yeah,
right?
Like every 30 seconds.
So we
In
have
my green car, it doesn't stop until I actually put on a seatbelt. So I actually have to seatbelt myself in the green
you
car.
can do like we used to do in the old days and just seatbelt it behind you.
I actually put it on. So, but it normally takes me a minute or
But
two to get there.
One of the problems is desensitization.
Okay.
Is that when you are constantly bombarded with all these messages, you start ignoring them. Your attention literally blinds them out.
Okay, so you don't like
So-
so you don't like. I'm actually really, after I read the bill, which I spent some time doing today, I actually am pretty for it, just on the warning aspects, because he originally came on out and he was going to try to pass a more active way of doing that, and he changed
That's
it to
what
be
I'm
passive.
saying. This is
I don't know. I don't mind the passive. I guess I'd be okay with passive. I just don't think they're going to go active because now all of a sudden you're making your car be in control of
This is
stuff.
a pretext. This is a pretext.
So what happens if my car is driving really slow and I get pulled over by a cop and I say it's regulated? Then they're going to be okay with that?
I have no idea. I don't know how that even factors into this conversation.
Like the worst case scenarios, if they ever did get fully active, right? Then it's going to slow you down.
California's going to become a wasteland. Everybody leaves California like they're already doing.
All right. Okay. All right, we want to hear your comments. If you think this is a good idea, go online to techtimeradio.com and post a comment on our episode and our live stream, and we'll see what you guys think about. We'll read some of those on the air, too, if we get those during our show today. Now we're going to go to story number 2. Odie, what do you got information for us about?
So, in a recent survey, online overtakes TV of news habits.
Okay, explain that to me.
So online has for the first time overtaken television in an annual survey of the UK's news habits. Research by the broadcast regulator Ofcom revealed 71% of the population said they used online services for news versus 70% of who watched TV news bulletins. Over the last year, online sources grew from 68% to 71%, while social media also saw a rise from 47% to 52%. For people aged between 16 and 24, the number saying they use social media for news was 82%. The most commonly mentioned online news sources were Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. The survey, however, does not measure the usage of specific sites. The BBC, 1.2 billion visits, and CNN, 710 million visits, are two of the largest news websites worldwide. Both saw significant increases in traffic over the last year. The source that saw the biggest increase is YouTube. 19% of those surveys say that they use it for news, and in 2023, it was just 7%. However, traditional newspapers saw a big decline. Shocker. With even those over 55 saying they read a print newspaper, dropping from 38% to 32% in just a year.
I'm actually rather surprised that that number hasn't happened
Has it
Sooner?
like depleted?
sooner. Yeah,
Hasn't done sooner. Well, so where do you get your information?
from my computer.
Yeah,
I look online while I'm supposed to be working. I'll check the news out.
Okay. That's where I get
don't
my
watch
news
TV,
facts.
so I mean, I use my television for streaming services, so I don't get ads unless it's YouTube, which I hate.
Okay.
But
So when's the last time you've watched local news?
years and
What,
years.
Yeah,
yes.
I just turned it on and watched an episode. Was it last weekend? And I was like, wow, I have not watched local news in quite some time. I get most of my information. I got CNN. I mean, I kind of try to do the balance area. I got CNN, MSNBC, and then I go to Fox News so that I have 3 different areas to see the story. And it's great because all 3 newscasts have all 3 different stories about the same thing. So then
Yeah,
I can
that's
kind of pick and choose
outstanding.
which one I want to do from.
See which
from
one
all
you
those.
want to believe in.
Yeah, that's exactly what I got going on.
The
there.
truth will set you free.
Okay, all right. Well, let's go to story number 3. Thank you, Odie. You don't watch any television.
I
do you?
don't, I grew up with my dad always hating the weather guy.
Okay.
That's my experience.
So he hated the weather guy?
He really hated the weather guy.
Everybody hates the weather guy.
The weather guy is the only guy that can be wrong every single day and still come back the
Yeah,
next day to his job.
that's what he would literally stand in front of the TV, listen to his report, and then be like, let's see tomorrow, and then it's completely wrong. That was his favorite. That's what I remember about the
Okay,
news.
that's cool. My kids may remember the same thing because I did kind of the same thing too.
I don't know what that is about dads with the news.
That's a dad thing.
Well, because you're supposed to be accurately reporting stuff. So if you're a news weather person, or you come out with well, there's a possibility of rain, or it could be sun breaks, and the highs can be 30 degrees all the way up to highs.
We don't need you to educate us on how to
anyway,
do a weather report there.
I usually get my news from Google or TikTok, depending on what is like. If it's for example, whenever there's a natural disaster and there's people on the ground who are the civilians documenting what happened to their homes, it's up on TikTok. That's how I'm getting my news.
Okay.
So that
was the Ukrainian war and Russian war was really interesting on TikTok and
Gen Z.
and on the social media platforms with reels like Facebook too, because they'd have people post stuff.
I don't
sometimes
get my
they
news
stayed
from
up.
Facebook. It's sort of a bad news that people are getting their news from Facebook.
Well, yeah, it's never really positive, is it? Because
no, it's always
I've never seen anybody on Facebook say, I'm really excited about this news information. I said, it's always like, I hate this person. I hate this person.
Doom scrolling.
That's right. All right. Let's go to story number 3.
We're going to talk about fusion.
Okay.
The question is, could powerful lasers unlock cheap fusion power? Now, back in the 80s, the U.S. conducted secret nuclear weapons research in the Nevada desert.
Okay.
I'm sure you know that.
I've read lots of stuff that's been released.
I hope most people know that. Among the experiments,
Cheyenne Mountain, if you ever watched Stargate, was kind of taken off of the same Cheyenne Mountain.
You just can't not put some reference to a science fiction show.
I can't. That's exactly right. That's right. TechTime. I can continue it on. Sorry.
Among the experiments was an effort to see if we could generate nuclear fusion, which is the reaction which powers the sun, and put it into a controlled setting. The experiments were classified, but it was widely known among physicists that the results were promising. The Los Alamos lab was originally set up in 1943 as a top secret site, which that's in New Mexico, by the way, not Nevada. Top secret site to develop the first nuclear weapons, located near Santa Fe. It is now a U.S. government research and development facility. If fusion can be harnessed, it promises abundant electricity that is generated without producing a ton of CO2. Those tests back in the 80s led the U.S. government building the National Ignition Facility in California, a project to see if nuclear fuel pellets could be ignited using a powerful laser. After more than a decade of work, in late 2022, researchers at NIF made a breakthrough, which we reported on.
Mhm.
Scientists conducted the first controlled fusion experiment to produce more energy from the reaction than that supplied by the lasers which sparked it. That's the main focus here.
Is it the lasers have to be less than the energy
That
is
the amount of
created?
energy it takes to create the reaction is less than the energy produced by the reaction.
Okay.
There are two main approaches. Smashing a fuel pellet with lasers falls under the category of inertial confinement fusion, and the other way, which is known as magnetic confinement fusion, uses powerful magnets to trap a burning cloud of atoms, which is called plasma. Both approaches have daunting engineering challenges to overcome. In particular, how do you extract the heat generated during fusion so you can do something useful with it, like drive a turbine to make electricity? Those in the fusion industry don't deny the engineering challenges, but they feel they can be overcome. A company called HUMMMM plans to use a waterfall of molten salt flowing around the fusion reaction to absorb the heat. The founders are confident that they can fire the lasers and replace the fuel capsules, one every couple of seconds, while keeping that flow going. But how quickly can they make such that the system work? HUMMMM plans to experiment with the lasers for 2 years before building a target chamber where they can then target the fuel pellets. The final stage would be the working reactor, which they hope would be plugged into the grid in the mid-2030s. So we got something to look forward to in the next decade.
We had another story that didn't make our top stories about a young individual that actually made some plasma. So, I mean, this whole experiment right now in the technology world of trying to create fusion power, to try to have plasma, to create more electricity or more power of electricity.
This would be a way to generate an abundance of electricity without all the side effects that we do now, which, obviously what we don't really talk about these days is how we get our electricity, right? We get it through nuclear fission,
Mhm.
and in some cases we get it through a more traditional means by burning coal.
Yeah.
But, that's what it is.
That's what it is. All right.
And maybe that kid needs to go to NIF
Well,
in California.
I-
He better not.
what? He's going to go to MIT probably or something like that.
Well, he's going to get pulled over for speeding.
Yeah. He may. All right. Another Tyreek Hill joke. All right. Story number 4. We have a follow-up story that we talked about a few weeks ago ahead of the mainstream media on a follow-up of breaking news from Nick Espinoza on our show 2 weeks ago about Telegram. You can rewatch this episode at techtimeradio.com, episode 219. The air date was 8/27/24. The Department of Justice now has charged leaders of the white supremacist group of Telegram, and they accused the group of encouraging hate crimes and murders. Federal prosecutors on Monday announced charges against 2 people for the alleged involvement in this Telegram group, which was used to spread hateful content and stir up a race war. Dallas Humber, 34, of Elk Grove, California, and Matthew Allison, 37, of Boise, Idaho, are charged with 15 counts of indictment for soliciting hate crimes, soliciting the murder of federal officers and officials, conspiring to provide material support for terrorists, the Department of Justice announced in a press release this week. According to the incident, Humber and Allison were leaders of the Telegram Collective, a transnational terrorist group that operated on Telegram. So we talked about that pretty exclusively. Nick was all over that story, and now it comes on out that arrests have been made regarding the Telegram Collective on Telegram's platform, with 2 of the main individuals leading this effort here in the United States.
Here you go.
Does that surprise you?
No.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me either, but it does make me upset. And you know what? Because we always point fingers at maybe other people are doing it, and then of course, when you point your finger, my mom used to always say that when you point your finger forward, you got 3 fingers pointing back at you.
What are you talking about?
Well, the Telegram. We didn't know that it was coming from the United States. We thought it could have been actually individuals that were overseas that were kind of the leader of this group, and now they found out that it was the United States. Well, that ends our top technology stories of the week. Moving on, Gwen Way is up with our Gadgets and Gear segment with a product that keeps you connected on and off the grid. What is it? Well, Gwen will share this information in our next segment. You're listening to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm. See you after the commercial break.
This is Mark
and Greg
for Copiers Northwest
with a terrific offer
called Printer Care Plus.
It's simple. Buy HP printer cartridges from Copiers Northwest and we'll service your current printers for free.
That sounds too good to be true.
It's made possible due to our HP Copiers Northwest relationship.
Copiers Northwest is an HP Platinum partner,
one of only 2 in the entire Northwest.
And now with Printer Care Plus,
Copiers Northwest will provide free printer service
as long as they purchase genuine HP cartridges from Copiers Northwest.
That's right. IT departments no longer have to service printers
or fix paper jams with Printer Care Plus.
They can focus on more strategic initiatives
and let our experienced technicians keep their HP printers up and running.
Sounds like a love-love relationship for IT departments.
Don't get too carried away. So how do they get more details on Printer Care Plus?
Call Copiers Northwest today, 206-282-1200, or visit copiersnw.com.
Copiers Northwest. New ideas, new solutions.
Welcome back to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm. Our weekly show covers the top technology subjects without any political agenda. We verify the facts and we do it with a sense of humor in less than 60 minutes. And of course, with a little whiskey on the side. Today, Mark Gregoire, our whiskey connoisseur, is in the studio. And now we have a taste test set up of 2 different whiskeys. So you're going to have to explain what we got going on here. This is more alcohol than normal, but I'm not complaining.
It'll be fun. So our main one up on your board today is we're drinking Old Forester 100 proof, but this is a single barrel selection.
Okay.
And almost to the date, a year ago, we did the one on the table, which is Old Forester 100 proof, which is their standard bottle on the shelf.
Okay.
So today we're focusing on the single bottle. All right. And then when we do Mark's Mumbles, we'll talk a little bit more about the differences between the 2 bottles and see what your reaction there is.
Okay.
Now, from the back of the bottle, it does say merely 150 years ago, their great-great-grandfather, George Gavin Brown, he was the first to seal his bourbon in a glass bottle, ensuring consistency and exceptional quality. He felt so strongly in his convictions that he signed his name to it. Today, I'm proud to add my signature as proof of our commitment to the Old Forester legacy lives on. That's from Campbell P. Brown. Now, Old Forester says it's hand-picked from a select barrels. Old Forester 100 proof is rich, complex bourbon that brings flavors of ripe apple and other sweet fruit, baking spices like clove and nutmeg, and toasted oak, while finishing sweet and light with hints of oak and apple that linger a little bit. Now, this is from the Brown Foreman. It's Old Forester Distillery from Kentucky. It's straight bourbon. It's not age stated, but it's said to be at least 4 years old. 100 proof, as we know, and the mash bill is 72% corn, 18% rye, and 10% barley. And for the standard shelf offering, that is $30. Single barrels usually go for about $50.
Okay. Did you try the Old Forester to compare the 2?
I tried both of them.
But did you notice a difference between the 2?
Yeah.
I thought this one right here. So
the white label is a little sweeter than the black label.
Is that what you're getting? I got the black label was a little bit softer on my palate than the white label. I thought was a little bit more of a kick that I got. So there you go.
All right. We'll do some more drinking and then we'll talk about it later during the mumbles.
Well, that sounds perfect. That's what we like to do. Well, Mark, we always enjoy you.
Well, thank you.
Bringing in the whiskey. Thank you for completing our first whiskey taste. Now, moving on to the segment. Today, we have Gwen Way joining the show. She's an expert in cybersecurity during the day and a game board geek in the evenings, as well as the producer of TechTime Radio and our Gadgets and Gear gal. Let's get ready to start our Comcast video stream and our next segment.
What's new in our Gadgets and Gear?
All right, here we go. Gadgets and Gear, Gwen. I'm going to have to put this in here just so we get into the Gadgets and Gear. We're going to talk about the Sony's all-new PS5 Pro that just got announced late last night and this morning, and so there's a couple facts I want to make sure we get out there. Do you have a PlayStation or are you an Xbox gal? What do you play?
I have a PlayStation, but I am still playing on a PlayStation 4. So
PlayStation 4, okay.
It's about time to upgrade.
Well, I don't know if you're going to want to upgrade, though, to the $700 5 Pro, though, that does come with upgraded graphics that look great. So they've taken the graphics and they do a whole bunch of upscaling. They also now support 8K, as if you have an 8K. Who has an 8K television at home that's gaming? No, not standard people. I don't know if anybody, I got a 4K one, but I don't know if I go out and buy an 8K television just to game. But if you did, guess what? You're going to want to make sure you get your pre-orders ready, and you're going to want to be up at the crack of dawn on September 26th, because that's when pre-orders go on sale, available on Sony's website. Now, the PS5 Pro is all about making bigger TV games happier and experiences. Souped up GPU, which is the graphic processor, promises to be a fluid 4K and 60 frames per second, and with the upgrade ability to move all the way into the 8K range. Now, Sony says it has 40 to 50 games that will get a patch that will be launched in November for existing games to get the better graphics. But here's the kicker. It does not come with a Ultra Blu-ray disc drive. You would have to purchase the one that's available right now for the PS5.
Oof.
You have to purchase an additional unit to have physical discs play on the unit. It is all online, PlayStation online account download of the games. They're trying, of course, to get rid of physical discs being used. So that is some breaking news, and we wanted to talk about a kind of a little bit gadgets and gearish to do that. Are you going to be buying a PlayStation 5, Mike?
No, I don't. I had the original PlayStation. That's where I stopped.
Did you move over to Xbox then after that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, PlayStation is not a PlayStation 6. That is probably 2 to 3 years rumored away. But this unit probably will sell when Grand Theft Auto comes on out, and then it has the enhanced graphics capability, and everybody's going to want to have those high definition graphics when you're cruising around stealing stuff in the fictional cities that you have in Grand Theft Auto. And so there you go.
I mean, that's going to be beautiful to look at, but personally, I'm looking forward to the fact that this new release will probably make the regular PS5 a little
cheaper,
less expensive.
Yep, there you go. You can go buy yourself a disc version, brand new, probably with some upgraded graphics in there too, Gwen, and pay half the price of when it hit the shelves. But It's always interesting, this right before the holidays. So you're going to be seeing these things go on eBay for probably $1,500 to $2,000 to have the rich kids under Christmas tree special when the executives didn't decide to wake up early in the morning and get on the advanced list. All right, well, let's go. And first off, Gwen, can you introduce yourself to any new listeners? Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do in your standard daily activities.
Well, of course. For anybody who's new, I'm Gwen. I have been working in tech for a quarter of a century, which is just the way I'm going to go with it going forward. And my focus right now is in cybersecurity, which is fun and exciting, and at the same time, the least exciting thing ever. So
there you go. It's kind of exciting and not exciting. So I know the last time I talked with you, you were working on a big proof of concept. Did that proof of concept go good, or did it go bad, or how'd that proof of concept go?
It went really, really well, actually.
Okay, good. All right. No fire eye here. If you need to deal with anybody, reach out to Gwen, and she'll actually help you instead of steer you the wrong direction. All right. Well, Gwen, let's talk about now this gadget and gear. What do we have for the listeners today?
Well, speaking of steering people in the right direction, I found a really cool gadget on Kickstarter called the Flare, Flare.
Okay.
The Flare is basically an off-grid locator, which is great for concerts and festivals and hiking and all kinds of fun things like that, making sure that people can stay in communication even when they don't have cell signal or Wi-Fi.
Okay. So even when they don't have Wi-Fi, so you're telling me that this device works. So if I'm in the middle of, which is so funny, the middle of the mountains in the Pacific Northwest, and so far I've lost all cellular connectivity, I would still be able to get a hold of somebody and be able to communicate with them with this device.
As long as they are also using a similar device. Basically, It's using shortwave radio waves as opposed to the cellular signal. It also is using GPS. So one of the cool things about it is that not only do you have a compass so you can find where you are and where you need to go, it will actually show you where the other users of these devices are.
Okay. So is there a limit of how many users you can get on this? You can get 1 or 2 or 4 or 6 or 8? Is there
4 is the total right now.
Okay.
They're talking about trying to expand it, but right now 4 is where they're at.
That's pretty good. We go to big family events. Having 4 little subgroups go on out there makes sense. So that's what we have. All right. Where can we find out where this is located and tell us how many units have been backed? If it hasn't been backed, where can we find out more information about this unit itself?
Of course. So as always, Kickstarter.com. Well, not always. We're going to get into some that are just generally available as we get closer to Christmas.
Okay.
In this case, Kickstarter.com, just search Flare, Flare. Right now, they've got 39 backers. They are fully funded at about $8,900 of $7,500. And you still have 3 weeks. So you have until October 2nd to decide whether you want to get one or not.
Okay.
My recommendation right now is you can get a 2-pack for $199, which would give you and one other person the chance to communicate with each other.
Okay, so let's talk about these units. How long are they charged for? How long does it take to charge? Because if I'm going to be out and let's say I'm at Geek Fest and I can't get a hold of my party and I need to meet up with everybody and tell them where to go, how long is this battery going to last?
It actually lasts 22 hours.
Okay.
Which gives you pretty much the entire day. It will take a couple of hours to actually recharge. But again, after 22 hours, I think you're probably going to be in a tent or back home or in a hotel room.
And again, these items, you're not going to have them on the whole time like your cell phone. You're probably going to turn them on only when you're going off grid to those locations. Okay. All right.
Exactly.
Now, how does this messaging system work? Explain that to me, because that's the most intriguing aspect of this whole thing that for me anyways, because if I want to text somebody and I can't get cell phone coverage, that is the most annoying thing that happens when you get those bars that don't work and you're like, I just texted you. Where are you at? Where are you at? How does that work?
It really, really is. So it's actually a peer-to-peer messaging as opposed to going up through the cellular.
Okay.
You use your Flare device and your Flare app, and you're able to actually text back and forth.
Okay.
It's not quite
so it's not on the device itself. You have to have a cell phone that you'd be connected to that. Is that correct?
Exactly. That is correct.
Okay. So you got to just make sure you have enough battery charge for your iPhone. If you got 22 hours on this device, you're going to have to bring a spare.
Well, that changes things.
Yeah, you're going to have to bring an extra battery pack.
My iPhone lasts like an hour.
Does it?
It all depends on how much chatting you actually want to do. It's great for short messages like, hey, we're at the Ferris wheel, come meet me, or hey, I'm over at the C stage, or I've gone up this mountain and am next to the waterfall.
Okay.
Yeah, see, I think it's perfect for that in the festival kind of way.
Yep.
You go out the whole day instead of having what is called a totem.
Yep.
You now have this. It's a lot easier to find because more often than not, you don't have cellular service in a festival. And at the end of the day, while you're sleeping, that's when you charge the device.
Exactly, 100%.
Yeah. So I think this is actually at concerts and festivals. I like Burning. You go to like Burning Man, right? So this would be like the ultimate device at like a Burning Man type festival.
Not even like Burning Man, just something,
Well, that's
like,
out, but Burning Man's out in the middle of nowhere. That's right. So it's out in the middle of nowhere anyways. You don't get cellular coverage when you come there. So everybody that's there is always wants to meet up and complaining if they can still speak and haven't had too much of Burning Man.
There was a time way back when where we didn't have all these good gadgets and things, and nobody cared.
You just met up at a place.
Just said we're gonna meet up over here at sundown. Okay.
Or do you remember the walkie-talkies?
Everybody check your watch.
That's what people do nowadays.
Yep.
Shortwave radios.
Well, but this is a little bit better than shortwave radios because this actually
uses shortwave radio.
Well, it does use the band. It uses a shortwave radio band to work with your phone itself. All right, Gwen, where can people find this again? Give us a reminder.
Kickstarter.com, just search for Flare and it will pop right up. You do have 3 weeks, but honestly, I'd jump on this as quickly as possible.
Are you getting one? That's the question I always ask now. Are you
actually,
getting one?
Actually, we are getting 2. My husband's aunt is a huge hiker. She goes up and hikes the mountains of Portland at least twice a week. So we're going to get her 2 so that she can give one to a friend and make sure that she's always in touch.
I got to make sure my loved one is not listening because she will want to grab one of
You
these.
already got one, dude. You already.
I haven't ordered one yet,
Yeah,
so
you
we'll see.
will.
We'll see if
It's
this comes in the Christmas surprise. That's right. All right, Gwen. Well, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. It's always great when you have a new gadget. I think next month's gadget, we're going to be in October, right? So we got like a little Halloween events coming on up here. Then we have like Thanksgiving, and then we got our big Christmas deal to get in there. So I did order 10 of your last gadget. So nobody knows what was on the last gadget. Go back to
Go
watch the episode, and Gwen will tell you all about the gadget that was available there. It was a little device that I'm giving away for Christmas. So there you go. All right. Thank you so much for joining the show. I look forward to seeing you next week, Gwen. It's always a pleasure.
Lovely. Thank you.
All right. Well, that ends our segment, Gadgets and Gear with Gwen Wayne. Now up we have Mike's mesmerizing moment.
Welcome to Mike's mesmerizing moment. What does Mike have to say today?
All right, Mike, here's a question. Why do people not comply with regulations? There's a bunch of stuff going on in the news, and you got people that are getting pulled over, thrown onto the grounds.
Are you talking about your
Tyreek Hill?
buddy?
Yeah, the cops are throwing them around, and oh my word! But clearly, in this instance, both parties maybe have something to do a little bit to the aggregated of the issue to escalate, but. Why are people not complying with regulations? The cops could have arrested him a certain way, and they didn't do that. He could have maybe responded a little bit simpler than he did. But why do we not, as people, comply with regulations?
Well, the short answer is entitlement. We feel like the rules shouldn't apply to us, right?
Is that what it is?
Well, yeah. Why do you speed?
Because I like to go faster than
you want to get where you want to go
as quick as possible,
and you think that getting where you want to go is more important than following the speed limit. That's a form of entitlement.
Okay, all
right? We all do it.
Yeah.
In some way, shape, or form. In every group, there is a group of rule breakers automatically, and there is always going to be a group of rule makers. And they're going to be pitted against each other. And the rule makers are going to constantly make more rules so that the rule breakers can break more rules until there's a revolution. And then you establish a new group of rule makers, and then you have a new group of rule breakers.
So is this always going to happen? Is this
is human? This is the way we are as humans. We just don't believe that everything should apply to us the way that people say they do. America is founded on that principle, right?
Yeah.
The revolution.
We left England and
we said we don't want you telling us what to do anymore. F you, we're gonna put all this tea in the harbor, and then we're gonna kick you out of the country, and we're gonna make it our own. And that's what we did.
Okay. I guess that's just
and then we turned right around and started telling everybody how to live in America.
That's right.
And America is
the Native Americans. We try to tell them what to do, right?
We tell everybody what to do.
All right. Okay. Well,
but so does everybody else. I mean, we're not unique in that.
So all people just essentially don't comply with regulations because we all.
And the particular video you watched, he was not exactly playing very complacent.
Yeah, no. We watched.
He was aggravating the situation. Quite. Didn't he use the term "Don't you know who I am"?
I do believe that was happening in the video that we saw of Tyreek Hill.
That is a significant entitlement right there. Okay. Do you know who I am?
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, thank you, Mike, for the mesmerizing moment. Up next, we have This Week in Technology. So now would be a great time to enjoy a little whiskey on the side, as we're going to be doing so during the break. You're listening to TechTime Radio. I have now 2 shots of whiskey to get through. I hope I will be better for the next segment with my words, because this whiskey is strong.
Only going to get worse.
All right. See you in a few minutes. Hey, Mike.
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, so you know what? We need people to start liking our social media pages.
If you like our show, if you really like us, we could use your support on patreon.com.
Or is it Patreon? I think it's Patreon.
Okay, Patreon. If you really like us, you can.
And you say I'm the English guy?
Patreon.com.
I butcher the English language?
You know you butcher the English.
Okay, so it's
all the
it's
time.
patreon.com.
Patreon.com. If you
forward
really
slash-
if you really like our show, you can subscribe to patreon.com and help us out.
Oh, and you can visit us on that Facebook platform. You know, the one that Zuckerberg owns?
The one that we always bag on?
Yeah, you can. We're on Facebook too.
Yeah, like us on Facebook.
Do you know what our Facebook page is?
TechTime Radio.
At TechTime Radio.
Yeah.
You know what? There's a trend here.
It seems to be that there's a trend, and that's TechTime Radio.
Or you can even Instagram with us.
And that's at TechTime Radio.
That's at TechTime Radio. Or you can find us on TikTok.
And it's TechTime Radio.
It's at TechTime Radio.
Like and subscribe to our social
Like
media.
us today. We need you to like us.
Like us and subscribe. That's it.
That's it. That's that simple.
buddy.
And now, let's look back at this week in technology.
All right. We're going to the Wayback Machine for September 7th, 2005. The iPod Nano was introduced. Apple introduces the iPod Nano, effectively replacing the iPod Mini. The move surprised many in the industry as the iPod Mini was extremely popular. However, the use of flash storage instead of a hard drive allowed for a much smaller form factor, increased reliability, and a better battery life. These improvements provide extremely popular with consumers as 1 million units were sold in the first 17 days. The pioneering use of flash storage in a consumer electronic device paved the way for its use on many future Apple product designs, such as the iPhone, iPad, and the flash storage-based MacBooks.
Yeah, now if I want to use any of that stuff, I have to have a subscription.
Well,
iTunes.
yeah, well, that's true. Now
Oh, no, Apple Music.
Let's talk about the iPod. Modded iPods are the hottest thing in the market right now. You can go to Etsy, eBay, and find these things. The iPod Mini modded silver iPod can now come with orange backlit, taptic sensors, and you can flash with different mods to have your screens look differently. The iPod Classic has now extended battery life. You can have a modded version that added Bluetooth, extended battery life, and enjoy up to 80 hours of continuous playback. You can even use both wired and Bluetooth headphone speakers. So now all the rage is for the youngins to have these new modded iPods. Now we should go to our fashionista and see if she has.
I am not a fashionista.
Well, do you have
Hold
one of these
on.
new iPod modded devices?
No.
No? Okay.
But
Would you want one for Christmas?
yeah.
Along
Okay.
with
I mean, I would.
along with
Yeah.
a turntable
I don't know if the turntable.
and an 8-track. No, it's not 8-track.
Yeah,
it's,
8-track.
You want an
no, it's
8-track?
cassette players that are
Oh, but
a
8-track
big
was
thing.
the better one.
Walkmans.
Walkmans are
Yes,
big too. Everything
8-tracks were
everything
better.
retro is. Okay. Well, there you go. You heard it from the fashionista herself. That was This Week in Technology. Have you ever wanted to watch some tech
I
time
just
history?
gave you a one finger salute.
With
No.
over 200 weekly broadcasts spanning 5+ years of video, podcasts, and blog information, you can visit us at techtimeradio.com to watch our older shows. We're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we have the Mark Whiskey Mobile Review, and who knows what day it's going to be. We'll see you right after this break.
Hello, my name is Arthur, and my life's work is connecting people with coffee. Story Coffee is a small batch specialty coffee company that uses technology to connect people to each product resource, which allows farmers to unlock their economic freedom. Try our Medium Roast Founder Series coffee, which is an exotic bourbon variety that is smooth, fresh, and elegant at storycoffee.com. That's STORI coffee.com. Today you can get your first bag free when you subscribe at storycoffee.com with code TechTime. That's STORI coffee.com.
The segment we've been waiting all week for. Mark's Whiskey Mumble.
So excited to be here September 10th.
All right. What is
for
September
a
10th?
national day. Today is a national day.
Okay.
What is it?
It is National TV Dinner Day.
I like to sit down to dinner, and if you
Oh
would,
my God.
when you can't cook it, Swanson should. I need
Oh, yes,
Old
Swanson.
ones can remember
Oh,
this.
I
commercial.
remember this.
Not home cooking. Swanson is.
Oh, I remember Swanson.
What's the other one?
Hungry Man.
Hungry Man.
Remember
Yes.
Hungry Man dinner?
Yes.
All right, perfect.
So this day is to let yourself enjoy a complete meal without having to cook.
Oh, that's better than those mashed potatoes and the corn or
Well, hang
peas,
on.
whatever
I don't know.
vegetables
That's a
you
great
got.
segment.
Okay.
I don't know. You had to
The
put it in
first
the oven.
TV dinner was
Yeah.
a Thanksgiving meal of turkey, peas, cornbread dressing, and sweet potatoes.
All right, there you go. Yeah.
It was the company Swanson and Sons that developed TV dinners in 1953. Now, the question for everybody is, do you prefer the old TV dinner or the home-cooked meal?
There's nothing better than having that toast.
Are you asking me as
trying to
a
microwave?
single person, or are you asking me as
As a human being.
As a human being.
Oh, no. See, as
So
a human being, I have to go with the home-cooked meal. But
Yeah.
as a single person, absolutely the TV dinner.
The TV dinner, man.
My favorite TV dinner is
What?
Salisbury steak.
Oh, okay.
But I just asked my wife what we're having
That's funny.
tonight, and she said we're having Salisbury steak, and she's home cooking it tonight. So I think I prefer that over the TV
you better
dinner.
say that.
Oh,
I
I
don't
think
even
you're
think I
obligated.
know. Dinner.
You're obligated.
So now, as we discuss TV dinners versus cooked dinners, today we have a small competition between the standard shelf offering versus a single barrel whiskey of the same juice.
Okay.
To refresh everyone, a standard shelf bottle of a major brand is a blend of many, many, many different barrels of the exact same bourbon and mash bill, which usually smooths out the taste and maintains consistency of the flavor. A single barrel is just that, the whiskey from only one barrel with a similar profile to the standard offering, but somehow unique. However, this usually brings with it the flavors that come from that special or that single barrel uniqueness. Single barrels are priced a bit more due to this and have a unique profile within the realm of the standard flavor profile. The question is it worth the upcharge? Now, I say that depends, of course, on various factors. It usually goes back to the individual preference. The person who picked out the single barrel, their preference and palate, and then you, the one drinking it, your preference and palate.
All right. That's interesting. Well, I do know that for those that are listening to the radio, we are going to be heading out here in just a second to go to a live coverage of the Tacoma Rainiers. So you're going to be leaving us for that live show, but do feel free to watch the conclusion of our show at techtimeradio.com. So for all those moving on over there, best of luck to the Tacoma Rainiers. For everybody else, we're going to, of course, continue on with our show. Our live stream on YouTube, twitch.tv, and Facebook is all available to go for people to have there. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit here more about the whiskey. We're tasting the two that we have here, Mark.
We are.
So the one is the $30 bottle.
The black label is the single barrel.
I bought that one, the cheaper one, right?
No, the black label is the
label,
not the cap.
Okay, yes. The black label is yours. That you brought.
They're both mine.
Oh, they're both yours? Did you give me the other one?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, that was one that you stole from me from one of the shows from last year.
I think
so. The
I
black
didn't
label
drink any
is
more
a
of it.
pick from the Ballard Cut in, of course, in Ballard, Washington.
All right.
And then the other one is the white label is standard off the shelf of the same Old Forester 100 proof.
Okay. All right.
Now, I find them a little bit different. They're both delicious.
Okay.
So there's not a huge difference. Sometimes on single barrels, you find a huge difference. Sometimes much, much worse. Sometimes much, much better. These are pretty close. I do find the mouthfeel and the viscosity of the Ballard Cut single barrel is more rich and fulfilling. It also seems to have more of a breadth of flavors. While the white label, in my opinion, is a little sweeter, a little bit more single note.
Okay.
But very, very close and both delicious.
All right. Mark, thanks for that mumble.
What about you guys? Or are we going to say that for the end?
Well, we got to save that for
All
the
right,
end. We got to
all
save
right,
that for the
all
end.
right.
I already know what I'm going to give it. If I stole the bottle from you, you should probably know that I'm going to probably.
You stole that bottle, not this
Yeah, I
bottle.
know. I may steal that one too. Okay, well, you know what? Now, nothing pairs well or as well as whiskey and technology, just like security and breaches.
No, you did that last week.
I know. So that's
You
what
can't
I'm
be-
saying.
you can't be
security
re-
and
we
breaches.
can't
Just
be
like security.
repeating this.
What,
Come on.
security and breaches? Okay, well, like baseball and the Tacoma Rainiers.
No,
There we go.
That's no,
All
no,
right, there you
no.
go. Okay.
Jelly and donuts.
I like jelly and donuts.
Copy and paste.
I thought
Okay,
you were going to
copy
go
paste.
like elections and presidential debates.
Oh, that's
I want
what
to
we
hear the
should-
technology fail. Are we going to hear?
Oh, let's go to our
All right,
technology
all right.
fail.
Thank
No,
you,
we
Cody.
need to do some more matchings because he's got to learn better.
Okay, here we go.
We are out of time. Congratulations. You're a failure. Oh. I failed, did I? Yes. Did I? Yes. Did I? Yes.
All right. Well, this week's failure comes to us from Swiss. The Swiss is the International Airlines, SWISS. The airline has been forced to rebalance plane because first-class seats are too heavy. The desire to fly in style weighs heavily on most of us, but for some first-class flyers, it weighs even heavier. Swiss International Airlines is having to make alterations to some of the aircraft because of their narrow first-class seats. Due to being installed as a much-needed revamp, are provided to be a lot heavier than expected. The new jumbo seats on the Airbus A330S, which includes 6-foot walls, a locking door for each suite, are seated at the front of the plane, making the aircraft nose too heavy. Swiss will have to fit a massive balancing plate at the back of the plane to recenter the balance of the aircraft. The new seats, called the Swiss Sense, were announced in 2023 for the debut of the winter 2025-2026 airline season. The airline has promised a full made-in-Switzerland experience with up to 37 square-foot suites in first class with sliding doors and walls shielding passengers from their fellow mortals. In a statement, Swiss said that they intend to have this industry trend on all of their business class seats get heavier to provide more privacy. Now, it's interesting because as they continue to upgrade the first class, they continue to downgrade the standard class, which is causing even more difficulty because they are lighter seats in the back now than what were previously used. All right, we're going to head out to our last.
What's the fail here? Because you really went off on this last night before you read the actual.
Well, so the fail is I've been on an aircraft once before, and they said that we had to rearrange seats because of a balancing issue, and it was another Airbus, and I was coming back from Europe, Amsterdam, as a matter of fact,
and you were all upset because they had to rebalance the plane.
Yes, yeah. So when you buy a plane, shouldn't you know? Shouldn't you understand about balancing issues? Clearly, here Swiss is now having to add in something because they didn't plan for the additional weight that was available there.
Yeah,
so
they're really
investing
investing in the classism right here.
I don't know why you consider it that. I've told you that's not how it works.
Oh, you did tell us to me last night that you had a friend that has to
Nathan
balance
is under
this.
the impression that there
thing.
is a bunch of shoulds that should be going on.
Yep.
That's just too much.
Well, yeah, we all know that.
Well, why do you have to balance? You should engineer a plane to be balance neutral, so that when you put stuff in there, you don't have to balance this. I just
that's what's going on here with this thing. They added all this junk to the nose section of the plane.
Turned out that balancing plate.
That it
There's
overbalanced.
This big, huge plate. It's a big. I looked at it, a sphere thing that goes up and down depending on like the middle of the thing, all the way down, and it's like 25 feet. It's like a sheet metal, 25 feet sphere thing that they move back and forth.
I'm not sure why you're having such an issue with this.
I am.
It's obvious. It's obvious that
design a plane that can handle this.
The Swiss,
buy an Airbus,
the Swiss are really into classism, and they're going to make the front of the plane a lot heavier, so they have to make.
All right. Now you got me. Now you got me on a rant. Let's
That's right. That's what.
Let's
that's
go to
what
the
I'm here
Nathan
for.
Nugget here. Oh boy.
This is your nugget of the week.
All right, here's my last thing. I'm gonna be in trouble. Out of office replies say the blunt truth is a new trend for people going on vacation. Now, this is what happened. I recently emailed an old friend. We haven't talked for a while. I look forward to catching up. And I got his message. It said, I'm out of the office having more fun than communicating with you. I will likely forget to email you back. What the heck is that? Now
was that his personal email?
Yes. No. This is his work email.
Oh,
he had it on his work email. So these out of office messages, forget the polite promises to respond after the vacation over. This is what people are doing. Barry Ritz, the 62-year-old chairman and chief investment officer for New York wealth management firm, said that he put his out of office to say he was peacefully contemplating the world from a remote lake in Maine. His note did not end there. It says, during this time, I will be out of the office, not checking emails, avoiding texts, ignoring Slack, letting calls go to voicemail, off the grid, and generally unreachable. As such, my autoresponder is as well auto-responding. Now,
why do you find that to be a problematic?
Well, here's another.
He finds it unprofessional.
Yeah.
Well, the first one is more unprofessional.
Well,
right?
still, that one was.
The second one is just
here's
saying,
another
hey,
one. A 33-year-old of a startup in Seattle.
Nathan? Is that what it comes down to?
33-year-old of a startup in Seattle. Him and his wife are expecting their first baby any day now. His out-of-office message says that he won't respond to emails during his 6 to 8 week paternity leave. There's nothing so important that it needs to take precedence over my new little one. You're right.
Okay, you find that to be a problem?
No. But why the heck are you going to put that on your out of office? He says he will not be checking a pile of emails and he'll be very delayed upon return.
I feel like I should go and set mine too. I don't want to talk to you ever.
Well, if this is another out of office, if this is urgent, take a deep breath because very few things really are. Now, you shouldn't be putting these on your out of office emails. You're supposed to be professional. I read this book called Be Our Guest from the Disney Institute. And the one thing it says you should always be very professional in your email, in your correspondence outside to anybody else that would do with business.
You know, in essence, I agree. I agree that you probably shouldn't be condescending about your out of office texts or, telling people while telling somebody that, hey, I'm going to be gone and won't be able to do anything. That's setting some expectations.
Sure. I'm okay with that.
But telling people I don't care about your email, that's a little different.
I don't like this new trend. 2 thumbs down for this new trend.
Well,
let's go to our whiskey page.
luckily for us, we don't have that much more time.
Okay. All right.
To worry about it.
That's right. Let's go to our whiskey.
Let's get back to whiskey.
Yes.
Old Forester 100 proof. You guys are tasting the single barrel and you are comparing it to the standard shelf offering.
Let me just tell you, I can tell you for the standard shelf offering, thumbs up. For the Forester, thumbs up. Both are thumbs up.
Okay,
They're
now
both
one's
great.
the standard shelf is 30, the other one's 50. Which one you going?
I'm going with both. Thumbs up.
I'll have to go with both too. I like the flavor profile of the black label is a lot different than the white label, but they're both good.
All right. Well, everybody, we thank you for joining the show. We can't wait to be part of your show next week. Remember, I'm your host, Nathan Mumm. Have a great binary wink. Goodbye.
On TechTime Radio. We hope that you had a chance to have that moment today in technology. The fun doesn't stop there. We recommend that you go to techtimeradio.com and join our fan list for the most important aspect of staying connected and winning some really great monthly prizes. We also have a few other ways to stay connected, including subscribing to our podcast on any podcast service, from Apple to Google and everything in between. We're also on YouTube, so check us out on youtube.com/techtimeradio, all one word. We hope you enjoyed the show as much as we did making it for you. From all of us at TechTime Radio, remember, Mumm's the word. Have a safe and fantastic week.